Director Jisoo Park stood at the massive window of the United Earth Council building. Green parks spread between tall white buildings. Flying cars moved quietly through the air lanes. Children played in the gardens below. It was hard to believe that somewhere far away, in space, a terrible war was raging. Jisoo turned back to her desk. 7 holographic displays floated in the air before her. Each one showed the face of an alien being. These were the representatives of the Galactic Coalition. They had been waiting for Earth's answer for 3 days now. The door to her office slid open. Admiral Hyun Kim walked in. His blue uniform was perfectly pressed. He had been in meetings all night with the Earth Defense Council. Behind him came Dr. Mina Choi. She carried a thick datapad filled with information about the alien visitors. Her laboratory coat was wrinkled from long hours of work. Director Park, Admiral Kim said formally, "The Defense Council has reached a decision." Jisoo nodded. She had expected this. The military leaders of Earth had been debating for days. Some wanted to help the coalition fight their war. Others wanted nothing to do with alien conflicts. "We recommend neutrality," the Admiral continued. "Earth has no business in galactic wars." Dr. Choi stepped forward. "I agree with the Admiral. My research shows that this conflict has been going on for 200 years. Both sides have committed terrible acts. We should not take part in their violence." Jisoo sat down in her chair. The weight of decision pressed on her shoulders. Earth had 40 billion people. All their lives depended on the choice she would make today. The holographic displays came to life. 7 alien faces appeared before them. Each creature looked different from the others. Some had scales, others had fur. One looked like it was made of living crystal. The leader was Ambassador Vec of the Saurian Republic. His reptilian face showed sharp teeth when he spoke. His yellow eyes gleamed with intelligence and impatience. Director Park, Vec hissed, "Have you made your decision? Will Earth join the coalition against the Vex Empire?" Jisoo stood up straight. Her voice was calm and clear. "Ambassador Vec, representatives of the Galactic Coalition." Angry sounds came from several of the alien displays. Vec raised one clawed hand for silence. "You refuse our generous offer," Vec said. His voice was cold. "Do you understand what this means? The Vex Empire seeks to conquer all inhabited worlds. They will not spare Earth simply because you remain neutral." "We understand the risks," Jisoo replied, "but Earth has chosen the path of peace. We will not send our people to die in wars that started before our species reached the stars." A being that looked like a large blue insect spoke up. "The coalition offers advanced technology, faster than light travel, energy weapons, medical advances that could extend human life by centuries." Dr. Choi stepped beside Jisoo. "We thank you for these offers, but we have learned that some prices are too high to pay. We will not buy progress with the blood of others." Admiral Kim moved forward. "Earth is willing to provide humanitarian aid, medical supplies, food, shelter for refugees, but we will not provide weapons or soldiers." Vec's eyes narrowed. "Humanitarian aid will not stop Vex battle fleets. Your peaceful intentions are admirable but foolish. The universe is not a kind place." "Perhaps not," Jisoo said, "but we choose to make our small part of it better. Earth will remain neutral." In this conflict, another alien spoke. This one had silver skin and no visible mouth. Its words came through a translation device. "The coalition has fought the Vex for 2 centuries. We have lost billions of our people. Your refusal means more will die. And joining your war would mean billions of humans might die." Jisoo answered. "We cannot save everyone, but we can choose." Not to add to the killing, Vex stood up from his seat. His powerful form filled the display. "Very well, Earth has made its choice. The coalition will respect your neutrality for now. But do not expect our protection when the Vex come for you." "We ask for no protection," Admiral Kim said firmly. "Earth will defend itself, if necessary." "Against the Vex Empire," Vec laughed harshly. "Your world has never known true war. You have no idea what is coming." Dr. Choi spoke calmly. "Perhaps you are right, but we would rather face that future with clean hands than survive with blood on them." The alien representatives began ending their connections one by one. Soon, only Vec remained on the display. "Director Park," he said quietly, "I respect your conviction, but I fear for your people. The Vex show no mercy to those they consider weak. Thank you for your concern, Ambassador, Jisoo replied. But strength comes in many forms. I hope you are right, for all our sakes. His image disappeared. Office fell silent. Outside the window, the peaceful city continued its daily life. People went to work. Children went to school. No one knew that their leaders had just refused to join a galactic war. Admiral Kim broke the silence. Do you think we made the right choice? Jisoo looked out at the city again. I believe we made the human choice. We chose hope over fear, peace over power. Dr. Choi checked her datapad. The Coalition fleet is already preparing to leave the solar system. They seem to accept our decision. For now, Admiral Kim said grimly. But Dek was right about one thing. The universe is not always kind to those who choose peace. Jisoo turned back to her desk. Reports waited there from across Earth. Cities that had never known war. Farms that fed billions without conflict. Laboratories where scientists worked to heal instead of harm. Perhaps not, she said. But it is kind to those who choose to be. Kind, that has to be enough. Admiral Kim saluted and left the office. Dr. Choi gathered her datapads and followed. Jisoo remained alone at the window. Far above in space, she knew the alien fleet was departing. They would return to their endless war. Earth would continue in peace. She hoped they had made the right choice, but deep in her heart, a small voice whispered that peace was a luxury the galaxy might not allow them to keep. The sun climbed higher over New Geneva, something that would soon test humanity's commitment to peace in ways they could never imagine. Captain Junho Lee floated in the command center of Earth Defense Station Harmony. The massive space station orbited slowly around Jupiter. Its sensors watched the outer edges of the solar system for any signs of danger. 3 weeks had passed. Since the Galactic Coalition left Earth space, life had returned to normal. Trade ships moved between the planets. Mining vessels collected resources from the asteroid belt. Everything was peaceful. Then the alarms began to sound. Captain called Lieutenant Dehoshin from his communications station. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts. They just dropped out of hyperspace near Neptune. Junho pushed himself over to the main display screen. 7 large ships appeared on the tactical map. They were unlike any human vessel. Their hulls were dark and covered with strange spikes. Energy readings showed powerful weapon systems. Are they Coalition ships? Junho asked. Lieutenant Shin shook his head. Neged, sir. The hull designs match files from the Coalition database. These are Vex Empire vessels. Junho felt his stomach tighten. The Vex had come to Earth space just as Ambassador Vec had warned. But Earth had chosen neutrality. Surely they would respect that choice. Open a communication channel, he ordered. All frequencies. Let them know we want to talk. On Mars colony, Ye Jinam was helping refugee children learn to read. She had volunteered at the education center for 3 years. The colony was home to 2 million people. Many had come from Earth, seeking a new life among the red rocks and domed cities. Yeji looked up as her communication device beeped. A message from her husband appeared on the small screen. He was working in the mining stations on Phobos. He would be home for dinner tomorrow. She smiled and went back to helping the children with their books. Outside the dome, she could see the sunset painting the Martian sky a deeper red. It was beautiful and peaceful. She had no idea that death was racing toward Mars at nearly the speed of light. Back on Station Harmony, Captain, Lee watched as his communications team worked frantically. They had been broadcasting messages to the Vex ships for 2 hours. The messages went out in 47 different languages. Earth offered peaceful contact. They explained their neutral status. They invited the Vex to talk. Dr. Mina Choi had arrived from Earth aboard the fastest courier ship available. She brought her entire team of xenolinguistics experts. They worked desperately to decode the strange signals coming from the Vex fleet. The patterns are complex, Dr. Choi explained. To Captain Lee, they seem to use a combination of electromagnetic pulses and what might be chemical markers, like they are speaking with both radio waves and scent at the same time. Can you translate their responses? Junho asked. We think so. The computer is building a translation matrix now, but it will take time to be sure we have it right. Time was something they did not have. The Vex ships had been moving steadily through the solar system. They passed Neptune, then Uranus. Now they were approaching Saturn. Their course would take them past Jupiter and toward the inner planets. Lieutenant Shin looked up from his station. "Captain, the translation computer says it has a preliminary result." Dr. Choi rushed to the communications panel. Lines of alien text scrolled across the screen with human translations appearing below them. "What does it say, Captain Lee?" demanded Dr. Choi read from the screen. "They are asking about our challenge. Something about accepting combat with their warriors. They seem to think we issued some kind of formal battle request." "That makes no sense," Junho said. "We asked for peaceful contact." "Wait," Dr. Choi said. Urgently, she typed commands into the computer. "Let me check our outgoing messages." More text appeared on the screen. Dr. Choi went pale as she read the translation results. "Captain," she whispered. "Our message saying we wish to speak peacefully." The computer translated it using the closest Vex concepts, but their language does not have words for peaceful discussion between strangers. "What did we actually tell them?" Junho asked with growing dread. "We told them we challenged their strongest warriors to single combat." The command center fell silent. Everyone stared at the display, showing the Vex ships moving closer to Mars. Lieutenant Shin broke the silence. "Sir, new message from the Vex fleet. The computer says they are acknowledging our challenge. They will demonstrate their honor by attacking our greatest settlement." "Mars," Captain Lee breathed. He activated the emergency communication system. "All Earth Defense Forces, this is Station Harmony. Code Red Alert. Hostile alien fleet approaching Mars colony. This is not a drill." But the warnings came too late. The Vex ships moved with terrible speed. They had been planning their attack while the humans tried to communicate. To the Vex, this was an honorable duel between civilizations. They would strike hard and fast to prove their strength. Yaji Nam was reading a story to the children when the first energy beams struck the colony dome. The transparent aluminum walls began to crack under the assault. Emergency sirens wailed across the settlement. "Everyone to the emergency shelters," Yaji shouted. She gathered the frightened children and ran toward the underground bunkers, but the Vex weapons were too powerful. The dome collapsed in seconds. Atmosphere rushed out into the thin Martian air. Buildings crumbled under the energy bombardment. Yaji pushed the last child into the shelter hatch. Then a falling beam crushed her against the floor. Her final thought was of her husband coming home for dinner tomorrow. Admiral Han Kim's defense fleet raced from Earth at maximum speed, but they were too far away. By the time the human ships reached Mars, the attack was over. "We're dead." The beautiful domed cities lay in ruins. The Vex ships had withdrawn to the edge of the solar system. They waited there as if expecting something. Captain Lee stood in the wreckage of Mars colony. His environmental suit protected him from the poisoned air. Around him, rescue teams searched for survivors. Dr. Choi approached him carefully. Her face was streaked with tears behind her helmet visor. "Captain," she said quietly, "I have been analyzing more Vex transmissions. They think this was just the opening move of our challenge. They are waiting for us to attack them back." "They think we wanted this," Junho said in disbelief. "To them, this is an honorable battle between equals. They struck first to show respect. For our courage in challenging them." Captain Lee looked at the ruins around them. Broken homes, shattered dreams, lives ended by a simple mistake in translation. "Get me a direct line to Admiral Kim," he ordered. "Sir, what should I tell the Vex fleet?" Junho looked up at the red sky where more ships were appearing. The main Vex battle fleet was arriving. "Tell them," he said grimly, "tell them they have made a terrible mistake. And now they are going to learn what humans do to those who hurt innocent people." The peaceful chapter of human space exploration had ended in the ruins of Mars colony. The war was about to begin. Director Jisoo Park stood in the ruins of New Geneva Memorial Hospital. The building had been converted into a command center overnight. The peaceful city she once watched from her office window was now filled with military vehicles and soldiers. Everything had changed after Mars. The news of 50,000 dead civilians had spread across Earth like wildfire. People who had never known war were demanding action. The peaceful Earth that had refused to join the galactic conflict was gone forever. Director Admiral Hyun Kim approached her. His uniform was different now. Instead of the ceremonial blue, he wore battle gray. "The Emergency War Council is ready for your orders." Jisoo nodded. She had not slept in 3 days. Her eyes were red from crying and planning. the weight of 50,000 graves pressed on her shoulders. "What is our current military status?" she asked. Colonel Taeyan Kwan stepped forward. He was the commander of Earth's Special Forces. His unit had been created to handle small conflicts and rescue missions. Now they would face an alien empire. "We have converted every available ship for military use," Kwan reported. "Mining vessels are being equipped with kinetic weapons. Passenger ships are becoming troop transports. Even the luxury cruise liners are being armed." Engineer Bora Han entered the command center. Her hands were covered in grease from working on weapon prototypes. She had not left her laboratory since the Mars attack. Director Bora said urgently, "We have made breakthrough progress on combat applications. The fusion reactors that power our cities can be modified into devastating bombs. Our medical nanobots can be reprogrammed to attack alien biology." Dr. Mina Choi looked uncomfortable. "Bora, those nanobots were designed to heal cancer patients. Are we really going to turn healing technology into weapons?" "The Vex turned our peace into an excuse for murder," Bora replied coldly. "Now we turn everything we have into tools of war." Admiral Kim activated the holographic display. It showed the solar system with red markers indicating Vex positions. More enemy ships arrived every day. "Intelligence reports suggest they have established a forward base on Europa," he explained. "They are using Jupiter's radiation to power their weapons. They seem to be preparing for a long campaign." Colonel Kwan studied the display. "What do we know about Vex combat tactics?" Dr. Choi brought up her research files. "They fight according to strict honor codes. Individual combat between champions. Formal battle lines. They announce their attacks in advance to give opponents time to prepare." "That explains why they are waiting," Admiral Kim realized. "They expect us to respond with a formal challenge of our own." General Somin, you entered the command center. She had been analyzing captured Vex communications for days. Her face was grim. "We have bigger problems," she announced. "I have been studying their transmissions to the Vex Empire. They are not just planning to conquer Earth, they are studying us." "What do you mean?" Jisoo asked. "They have been downloading every piece of human history they can find from our networks. Military conflicts, war strategies, battle tactics from every human civilization." The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. "They are learning how we fight," Colonel Kwan said slowly. "Worse than that, General," you continued. "Their communications suggest they are terrified of what they might unleash." One message I translated said, "Earth species shows unprecedented potential for warfare adaptation." Engineer Bora looked up from her weapon schematics. "They should be terrified. I have finished the preliminary designs for our new combat systems." She activated her own display. Weapon blueprints filled the air. Kinetic bombardment systems using asteroid mining equipment, fusion warheads mounted on commercial rockets, plasma cannons powered by our energy grid. And this, a new schematic appeared. It looked like a standard cargo ship, but the design was completely different. Inside stealth attack vessels, they look like peaceful freighters on sensors. But they carry enough firepower to destroy a Vex battlecruiser. Admiral Kim studied the designs. "How long to build these weapons?" "The first prototypes will be ready in 2 weeks. Full production can begin immediately after." Colonel Kwan stepped forward. "My teams have been training with the new equipment. We are developing tactics the Vex have never seen before." "What kind of tactics?" Director Park asked. "Human tactics," Kwan said grimly. "The Vex fight with honor codes and formal rules. We will fight to win. Ambush attacks, psychological warfare, total destruction of enemy capability." Dr. Choi looked worried. "Are we sure we want to abandon all our principles? Mars was a tragedy, but do we need to become monsters? The Vex made us into monsters when they killed 50,000 innocent people," Jisoo said quietly. "Now we will show them what human monsters can do." An alarm sounded through the command center. Lieutenant Daeho Shin's voice came over the communication system from Station Harmony. "Priority alert to War Council. Vex fleet is moving from Europa toward Earth, estimated arrival in 6 hours." Admiral Kim turned to his staff. "All units to battle stations. Deploy the new weapon systems." Colonel Kwan checked his equipment. "My teams are ready for the first live combat test." Engineer Bora gathered her blueprints. "The prototypes are armed and ready. Time to see if human engineering can match alien technology." As the team prepared to leave the command center, Dr. Choi stopped Director Park. "Jisoo," she said, using her first name for the first time in years. "What if we win this battle? What if we prove that humans can fight as well as any alien species? What happens to us then?" Director Park looked out the window at the city preparing for war. Peaceful gardens had been replaced with weapon manufacturing plants. Children's playgrounds were now military training grounds. "Then we become what the galaxy made us become," she answered. "And may heaven help anyone who stands in our way." The Vex fleet approached Earth, expecting to face the same peaceful species that had issued their naive challenge weeks ago. They were about to discover that killing 50 humans had awakened something terrible, something that would make the galaxy remember why. Earth had chosen peace in the first place. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was very angry. Colonel Kwan led his teams to their ships. Engineer Bora activated her new weapons. Admiral Kim took command of the defense fleet. The peaceful chapter of human history was ending. The age of human warfare was about to begin, and the universe would never be the same. Captain Houn Jung crouched in the command center of the stealth ship Soul's Revenge. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth. The human vessel looked like an ordinary cargo freighter from the outside. Inside, it was a weapon of terror. That had changed the course of the Galactic War. "Target acquired," whispered her weapons officer. Vex supply convoy approaching the asteroid field. Hound studied the tactical display. 12 massive Vex transport ships moved slowly through space. They carried food and ammunition to Vex battle fleets, fighting across 3 star systems. The ships had heavy escorts, but they followed predictable routes. That was their mistake. "Weapons armed," Hound ordered quietly. "Remember the doctrine. No survivors, no witnesses." The Soul's Revenge had been hunting Vex convoys for 3 months. It was one of 50 stealth ships that operated behind enemy lines. They struck without warning and disappeared before help could arrive. The Vex called them ghost ships, called them justice. "Fire," Hound commanded. Kinetic rounds tore through the Vex convoy at incredible speed. The transport ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Their escort fighters tried to locate the human ship, but its stealth systems made it invisible. Within minutes, the entire convoy was destroyed. Thousands of Vex soldiers and crew members died in the vacuum of space. "Any distress signals transmitted?" Hound asked. "Negative, Captain. Communications were jammed successfully." "Good." Hound looked at the expanding debris field, another convoy that will never reach its destination. On the planet Kepler 4, for to be Major Unico led her ground forces through the abandoned Vex city, the alien civilians had fled when human troops landed 2 weeks ago. Now only military targets remained. The Vex had built their city according to their honor codes. Wide streets for formal combat, tall towers where champions could duel. Everything was designed around their concepts of honorable warfare. Human soldiers moved through the shadows like ghosts. They wore adaptive camouflage that changed color with their surroundings. Their weapons were silent and deadly. They struck from unexpected angles and disappeared before the enemy could respond. "Contact left," whispered Corporal Kang over the radio 3 Vex warriors in ceremonial armor. Major KO watched through her scope as the aliens moved down the street. They walked proudly in formation, expecting to meet human forces in honorable combat. Instead, bullets from 6 different directions cut them down in seconds. "Good work," KO said into her radio. "Continue the sweep. Remember the new rules. No prisoners." The human forces had learned to fight like their ancestors. They used tactics from every war in human history. Guerrilla warfare from Vietnam, blitzkrieg strategies from World War II, psychological operations from the Cold War. The Vex had never faced anything like it. Back on Earth, Dr. Kiwan Park worked in his psychological warfare laboratory. He had studied every alien species in the galaxy. Now he designed messages that would break their will to fight. His latest broadcast was transmitting across Vex space. It showed images of destroyed Vex fleets and conquered planets. The message was simple but terrifying. Surrender now, or face complete extinction. This is your only warning. The broadcasts were having their intended effect. Entire Vex battle groups were laying down their weapons rather than face human forces. Some alien species were switching sides to join the human war effort. Dr. Park, his assistant, called out, "We are receiving massive numbers of surrender requests. From the Rigel sector, how many ships?" he asked. "An entire Vex battle fleet, over 300 vessels. They are requesting permission to surrender to human forces." Dr. Park smiled coldly. "Tell them to disable their weapons and wait for instructions. Any ship that shows hostile intent will be destroyed immediately." The psychology of terror was working perfectly. In the Vex Empire capital city, Emperor Vorth paced in his throne room. Reports from the warfront grew worse every day. Human forces were advancing on all fronts. His allies were abandoning him. His own people were beginning to doubt their inevitable victory. "My lord," his military advisor entered the room. "The Shadow Collective has agreed to our proposal. They will provide experimental facilities for human prisoners." "Excellent," Vorth hissed. "Perhaps studying human biology will reveal weaknesses we can exploit." "There is another matter, my lord. The humans have broadcast a new message directly to our capital world. Show me." The message appeared on the throne room displays. A human female in military uniform spoke with calm authority. Her eyes were cold as winter ice. "I am Fleet Admiral Juan Seo of the Terran Navy. Your empire has exactly 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. After that time limit expires, we will demonstrate why Earth chose peace for so long. This is Admiral Kim speaking directly to Emperor Vorth. We know you are listening. We know where you are, and we are coming for you." The message ended. Emperor Vorth stared at the empty screen with growing fear. "My lord," his advisor whispered, "should we prepare the defense fleets?" "Yes," Vorth said quietly, "and send word to all remaining allies. Tell them the humans must be stopped at any cost." But his words lacked conviction. Deep in his heart, the emperor knew the truth. The humans had become something terrifying, something that would not stop until the Vex Empire was completely destroyed. On Earth, Director Jisoo Park received the latest casualty reports. Human losses were surprisingly light. Enemy casualties were massive. The war was going better than anyone had dared hope. But the cost was not measured only in lives lost. Director Admiral Kim entered her office. "The Galactic Coalition has requested an emergency meeting. They want to discuss our conduct of the war." "What about our conduct?" Jisoo asked. "They are concerned about our tactics, our refusal to take prisoners, our total warfare approach. They say we are becoming too ruthless." Jisoo looked out her window at the memorial wall. 50,000 names were carved into black stone, the names of Mars colony victims. "Tell the coalition representatives that they had their chance to prevent this war," she said coldly. "They failed to stop the Vex from attacking innocent civilians. Now they will watch us finish what the Vex started, and if they threaten to, intervene. Then they will learn the same lesson we are teaching the Vex Empire. No one threatens human lives and walks away." Admiral Kim nodded and left the office. Jisoo remained at the window looking at the memorial wall. Mars had changed everything. The peaceful Earth that had refused to join the Galactic War was gone forever. In its place stood something new, something efficient, something terrible. The humans had become the monsters the galaxy had always feared they might become. And they were very good at it. Ambassador Chung Ho Lim stood in the great hall of what was once the Vex Empire throne room. The massive chamber had been converted into the headquarters of the new Terran administration. Human flags hung where alien banners once displayed the power of a fallen empire. 1 year had passed since the final battle at Vex Prime. The war was over. The galaxy was at peace, but it was a peace enforced by human military might. Ambassador President Minjuo approached him with a datapad in her hands. "The latest surrender documents have arrived from the Outer Rim territories. That makes it official. Every former Vex world is now under Terran protection." Chang Ho nodded as he reviewed the documents. The list was impressive. Over 600 star systems, billions of alien citizens, all now living under human rule. "Any resistance movements reported?" he asked. "None," President O replied. The local populations seemed genuinely relieved to be free of Vex control. Many are requesting permanent human administration. Fleet Admiral Juan Seo entered the hall, wearing her dress uniform. The medals on her chest told the story of humanity's rapid rise to galactic dominance. She had commanded the final assault that broke the last Vex stronghold. Madam President, Admiral Essio saluted. The Galactic Council has formally ratified the Terran Accords. All major species have agreed to the new security arrangements. President Un smiled with satisfaction. The Terran Accords were humanity's terms for galactic peace. Every species would disarm their military fleets. Trade disputes would be settled by human arbitrators. No wars could be fought without Terran approval. What about the former coalition species? Chung Ho asked. They are adapting well to the new order, Admiral Essio reported. Ambassador Vec of the Saurian Republic has been particularly cooperative. He says his people prefer human leadership to the chaos of their old democracy. And why would they not? President O said. We have brought peace to regions that knew only war for centuries. Dr. Mina Choi entered the hall, carrying her translation devices. She had become the head of the Department of Xenological Studies. Her job was to ensure perfect communication between humans and alien species. President O, Dr. Choi said, I have finished the linguistic analysis you requested. We now have complete translation capabilities for all 3,000 known galactic languages. Excellent, President O replied. No more tragic misunderstandings like the one that started this war. Dr. Choi looked uncomfortable. About that, Madam President, I have been reviewing the original Vex communications from before the Mars attack. The mistranslation was not accidental. Everyone in the hall turned to look at her. This was the first time anyone had suggested the war began differently than they believed. What do you mean? Chang Ho asked carefully. The Vex had already decided to attack human space before we sent any messages. They were looking for any excuse to justify their aggression. Our peaceful overtures were deliberately misinterpreted. President O was quiet for a long moment. The revelation changed nothing about the war's outcome, but it explained much about Vex thinking. So they wanted war from the beginning, she said finally. Yes, Madam President. The Vex Empire was built on conquest. They could not understand a species that chose peace. They saw it as weakness that had to be corrected. Well, Admiral Seo said grimly, they certainly corrected our peaceful nature, and now they no longer exist to threaten anyone. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication alert. The holographic display activated showing the face of Colonel Taeon Kwan was now in charge of galactic security operations. Priority message for President O Kwan said. New alien contact at the edge of Terran space. Unknown species requesting permission to enter the solar system. Do we have any information about them? President O asked. They call themselves the Meridian Collective. Peaceful traders and explorers. They have been monitoring galactic communications and learned about the end of the Vex War. What do they want? They request formal diplomatic contact with the Terran government. They wish to establish trade relationships and mutual defense agreements. President O looked at her advisors. This was the first new species to contact humanity since the war ended. How they handled this meeting would set the tone for future galactic relations. Tell them they may send one diplomatic vessel to Earth. Orbit, she decided. Standard quarantine and security protocols apply. Understood, Madam President. One more thing, their initial message was very carefully worded. They made specific reference to respecting human territorial sovereignty and expressing no hostile intentions. Smart aliens, Admiral Essio commented. They obviously studied what happened to the last species that threatened human space. 2 days later, the Meridian diplomatic ship arrived at Earth. It was small and clearly unarmed. The aliens aboard transmitted continuous peaceful intentions on all frequencies. Ambassador Chung Ho met with the Meridian representatives in the same chamber where Director Jisoo Park had once refused to join the Galactic War. The irony was not lost on anyone present. The Meridian ambassador was a tall, graceful being with silver skin and large, intelligent eyes. She spoke perfect human English, having learned it from intercepted broadcasts. Ambassador Lim, she said formally, I am Envoy Serena of the Meridian Collective. We come in absolute peace, seeking friendship with the great human civilization. Welcome to Earth, Envoy Serena, Chung Ho replied. What does your collective seek from humanity? Simply put, we wish to avoid the fate of the Vex Empire. We have studied your history carefully. We understand that humans prefer peace, but are capable of terrible war when threatened. That is an accurate assessment, Chang-ho said carefully. Then we offer our services as peaceful traders and information brokers. We will respect all human territorial claims. We will report any hostile activities we encounter, and we will never, under any circumstances, threaten human lives or interests. Admiral Essio leaned forward, and in return, we ask only for protection under Terran law and the right to trade freely in human space. We have technologies that might interest you. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, entertainment media. The negotiations continued for several hours. In the end, the Meridian Collective became the first voluntary member of the new Terran sphere of influence. That evening, President O stood in her office, looking out at the lights of New Geneva. The city had been rebuilt after the war. It was more beautiful than ever, but the innocence was gone forever. Dr. Choi joined her at the window. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked quietly. "We survived," President O replied. "We protected our people. We brought peace to the galaxy. But at what cost? We are not the same species that refused to join the coalition war." "No," President O agreed, "we are not. The Vex Empire made sure of that when they killed 50,000 innocent people on Mars." She pointed to the memorial wall visible in the distance. Even at night, the names of the Mars victims glowed softly in remembrance. Every alien species in the galaxy now knows what happens to those who threaten human lives. That knowledge will prevent future wars. And if they forget, then we will remind them. 5 years later, the galaxy enjoyed unprecedented peace under Terran oversight. Trade flourished between species that had once been enemies. Scientific cooperation advanced knowledge for all civilizations. Children grew up never knowing war. But in every alien school, students learned about the Mars colony. They studied human military history as a warning about the consequences of violence. The lesson was always the same. Humans preferred peace, but were very good at war. The memorial on Mars had become a pilgrimage site for alien diplomats. They came to understand why the galaxy's most powerful military force had once chosen neutrality, and they made sure never to give humanity a reason to abandon peace again. The sleeping giant was awake and watching, and the galaxy was safer for it.